Welcome, everybody, to part 2 of the Short Sports Show. This is now the National Football Championship game for college football. Kind of messed that up, but anyways, we're done talking about the NFL. We did all of that earlier. Be sure to go listen to that if you have not just yet. And now, college football. We still got about 7 more hours till kickoff. I mean, if you think about it, it's 12:37 right now. All of the pregame stuff, the national anthem. We're about close to kickoff in 7 hours from now. So that's perfect timing for us to go ahead and start talking about some NCAA news, college football news. We'll talk about that. And then we will get into the actual national championship game, the college football playoff national championship game between Oregon and Ohio State. All coming up on this show. I'm excited to talk about. It's finally here. Yes, I'm a little jelly because the fact that TCU should be playing right now against Oregon tonight. That's what should have happened. But, I'm not going to go all into that because I know there's some people that are not Horned Frog fans out there. They're not going to really understand. They're not going to care. But I just got to make sure my point's out there. But anyways, I am Daniel Short. This is the host. I am the host of the Short Sports Show. Let's get into it. College football. First of all, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Be sure to get that up. And if you're listening to iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube, whatever it may be sure to like it and share it with your friends and family. Let them know what you're listening to. And let's get into this college football. First, huge news for Michigan State fans out there. Defensive lineman Shalik Calhoun is returning to the Spartans for his senior season, saying, quote, "I'm going to take my last hoorah, come out and have a great season. With the talent we have on this team, I know we can go far, and I want to be a part of the team that takes us to the national championship. As I watch the college football playoff play out and see the two teams that are in the national championship are the two teams we lost to, it shows that we're inches away from being in that game." That's what Shalik Calhoun had to say after announcing he will return for his senior season, which is big news. This guy, I remember watching him his sophomore season, and the size of this guy, 6'5", 256. He had 8 sacks this season. I mean, this is huge for Michigan State. Not only do they have their starting quarterback in Connor Cook returning, now they have Shalik Calhoun, their big defensive lineman. He was rated number 20 overall. That's a first-round draft pick right there. He said he's coming back, and he's going to play. And I think it's obviously it's always a risk when you're guaranteed first-round draft pick. Well, I mean, at his spot, maybe not guaranteed first round, but for sure, first, second round, you're going to be picked. And where he's at, the size that he's at, and the way he can just change the whole part of the game, it's very risky for his side. But this is huge for Michigan State to get back out there and be where they need to be and where they want to be. Having Connor Cook, Shalik Calhoun, big team captains for each side of the ball, team leaders overall on the team. I mean, this is amazing news for Michigan State. And, I'm not saying they're playoff favorites. I don't think, they still need to work out some kinks. But, yeah, their only two losses are to Oregon, kind of bad, lost to them, and Ohio State. That's it. Both of those teams are in the national championship game tonight. That's not bad. That's not bad for your resume to say, hey, you lost to the only two teams that are left right now, the only two teams standing. That's not bad at all. So he makes a great point. They are going to lose defensive back Trey Waynes. He's going to the NFL. That's going to hurt a little bit, but Michigan State can recruit. They are losing their defensive coordinator as he's taking the head coaching job to Pittsburgh. So Pat Narduzzi, that's going to hurt him a little bit, but they can recruit. They are able to play. I'm trying to get my microphone stand. It's falling off right now. It's not good. But anyways, that is huge news for them. And let's see if I can get this to work. Nope, I'm going to have to hold it. All right, that's cool. Anyways, let's move on. Big 12 to talk expansion once more. I know we've talked about this many times on the show and how much I want this to happen. But they're kind of teasing us again. They're teasing us again But let's just see what they have to say, and then we'll talk about it. This is what the commissioner, Bill or Bob Osley, whatever his dumb name is, he said, quote, we'll talk about it once. We'll talk about it again. I was very proud of our athletic directors, and to be honest, because they didn't have a knee-jerk reaction, there wasn't any. We've got to find 2 new members so we can have a playoff. It is easy to forget that if a couple things go differently, we get 2 teams in, not none. Which should have said neither or whatever. We always knew that someone was going to be standing when the music stopped. Some of that is situational. I was proud of our ADs, athletic directors. We had a very business-like session in New York, and we talked about it a little bit, about the tiebreaker. We talked about scheduling. We talked about non-conference schedules. We'll talk about it again. All of that basically says they're being continually asked to expand. We need to get something going, a title game, a Big 12 championship game back in there so they can have at least one team in there, because we still don't know when the playoff is going to be expanded, if it will. You know, I'm not going to be surprised it stays at 4 next season. Is that what I want? Absolutely not. I want it at 8, if not 6 at the very minimum. But I'm not going to be surprised if it stays at 4. You know, I know how everything happened. Obviously, as a TCU fan, I know exactly what happened. But, you know, I don't know. I have this weird feeling that we're still going to stay at 4 just to, I don't know, push it in again. I don't know. I hope not. I hope the college football playoffs expand to 8. That'd be perfect. You have all the Power 5 conference championship winners in there, so that can get, you know, the team to win it and actually think about winning the conference championship before thinking of trying to get into top 4. Get that, and then we have some, some wild card members, you know, so to speak, that get in there. And most likely it's probably going to be SEC teams, but hey, that could be the next argument. We can talk about that later. The Big 12 officials will meet again on February 6th. They will discuss who to nominate as Oliver Luck's replacement on the selection committee, and Bosley reiterated that it will likely be a sitting athletic director with the Big 12. So we'll see about that. I don't think that's really big news or anybody really cares about, but there needs to be expansion for both the Big 12 and the playoff. Let's expand both of those, and let's get a Big 12 championship game and have my TCU Horned Frogs keep going up there. Just saying. Other news, Arkansas offensive coordinator Jim Channing is leaving the Razorbacks after 2 seasons. He's joining longtime Michigan State defensive coordinator Pat Narduzzi, who was hired as Pittsburgh's next head coach. Arkansas averaged 31.9 points in the second season under Channing, up from 20.7 in his first season in 2013. The Razorbacks have jumped from 99th to 60th nationally in total offense, increasing their yards per game from an average 357 to 460 yards. Not bad. Chaney was entering into his final year of a 3-year deal of a $550,000 annual contract with the Razorbacks, and obviously, I'm sure he got a bit of a raise. Now joining, Pittsburgh. So that's bad for Arkansas, but I'm sure they'll find somebody right now. Arkansas's recruiting is going up for them, and they know they're on the brink of something special for Arkansas. So, you know, they're going to get a coach there that's going to help them out and continue to keep that offense going with those big offensive linemen. Brent Bielema will do a great job selecting a new offensive coordinator. And a couple last news is Ohio State plans to add former Nebraska offensive coordinator Tim Beck to its coaching staff after the college football playoff national championship is over with. Beck is expected to replace Buckeyes offensive coordinator Tom Herman, who is now becoming the head coach for Houston. Tim Beck has held positions of running backs coach, quarterbacks coach, and offensive coordinator since joining Nebraska in 2008. And apparently I was reading more up on Jim Beck. He was an assistant coach or offensive coordinator at Kansas back in 2007. And for people remember that far back and think about football back then, Kansas was actually 12-1 in football in 2007. Had one of the top offenses, if not the top offense in college football back then. That's crazy. So he might be able to keep that Ohio State offense keep going with their like three-headed quarterbacks, which is kind of really weird to say. Usually say three-headed running backs or something like that. Quarterbacks. And last news, and it's on Oregon side, and I'm sure this has all been out. Oregon head coach Mark Helfrich confirmed that Ducks wide receiver Darren Carrington will not play in Monday night's college football national championship game against Ohio State. As multiple sources have reported that Carrington failed an NCAA-sanctioned drug test. Also, running back A.L. Ford is ineligible, reporting also failing the drug test. But Mark Helfrich had one heck of a quote. He really did. He had a good response to the media about the suspension, saying, quote, "Getting guys injured is a distraction. Media is a distraction. Winning big is a distraction. How you manage those things is what matters most, and our guys have managed those situations very, very well." I thought that was an amazing quote by Mark Helfrich of the Oregon Ducks. That was perfect because this, to most news, I mean, this is huge distractions, as Darren Carrington had one heck of a game against Florida State. I believe like 2 touchdowns, amazing receptions, beating defenders. It looked like he was going to be, someone that was a playmaker for tonight's game. Now he's not, because he decided to, which it's still iffy. I haven't found the actual report, but I guess he smoked marijuana. That was what I saw so far. That was stupid. And A.L. Ford, I believe he did the same thing. And it's like, well, Ford, I don't even think he even played, so it didn't really matter. But in case there's injuries go down, next man up. And that's exactly what Marcus Mariota said after both of these suspensions happened. He said, it's the next man up. We got plenty of guys that'll go out there and make plays. They came to Oregon. They're on scholarships for a reason. They're champion. They're championship material. They can go out there and win. I like it. And it sucks Darren Carrington is going to miss it. That was his own stupid mistake, as well as Ford. So, sucks for them, but also I'm really wanting Oregon to get this W. I truly am. If Oregon falls somehow, I don't even like talking about it or thinking about it. If they fall somehow to Ohio State, I'm going to lose it. I want Oregon just to win it because it's Marcus Mariota's last year, of course. Finally, this Oregon's team is getting the recognition it deserves from having that fast-paced, up-tempo, awkward offense when we all first saw it, saying, how is this ever going to win? What is this like? How are these people running this scheme? And then it came to, they can't win the big game. They lost to Auburn in the national championship and Cam Newton's team. They lost in that. And other big games, once they got to the bigger games, they started losing. Oregon can never beat the big teams. They can never play on the big stage. Now they finally have done it. Now it is time to show on the biggest stage of them all, especially with this one, the college football playoff championship in Arlington, Texas, AT&T Stadium, Cowboy Stadium, a.k.a. Jerry's World. It all comes down to this, the biggest game of them all, Oregon, Ohio State. It is time for Oregon to show that they can play with the big boys and they can beat them. Obviously, this would have been bigger had it been Oregon, Alabama, which is what everybody wanted. No one even thought Ohio State would even make it. Now they have. So now it's time to show, hey, we can even beat one of those older schools in Ohio State, and we can beat them. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Oregon gets the job done. And honestly, what I see is a very slow start for both of these teams. I think both teams go 3-and-out just like that. And, so momentum switches back and forth. So if you're whatever team gets the ball first, whatever fan you are of side, don't expect a touchdown the first drive. One, because if it does happen, you're more pumped and more hype. If it doesn't happen and you're expecting a touchdown on the first drive, you're going to be more disappointed and you're going to feel like things are not going your way. That's why, settle in, expect 3-and-out, expect to punt your first drive. That way, get a little more positivity going through you in case they do score a touchdown. But if they don't, you're prepared for it and hey, this is going to be a game. It does not matter what happens in the first, second, and third quarter because both of these